Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right in to unpack a massive post-credits mystery, looking at the true trajectory of the Thunderbolts as they march toward Avengers Doomsday. We've got a ton of source material to get through today, so we're going to break down exactly what this team is going to do, what they'll ultimately be called, and whether they're actually ready to do the unthinkable to save their universe.
Right off the bat, the source material throws us into the deep end with this really fascinating debate from the end credit scene, the new Avengers name. I mean, Marvel literally made this the longest post-credit sequence they've ever done just to hammer home this exact argument. So we really have to ask ourselves, is this crew of misfits actually going to be known as the new Avengers going forward? Or are they destined for a much, much darker moniker?
You know what's really fascinating here? The actual origin of the word Thunderbolts. There's this massive misconception floating around that the original comic book name was just, some random school football team. But actually, scratch that, it wasn't. It was taken from a 17th century poem by a guy named Thomas Randolph, and it literally means unexpected violent change. So even though the MCU totally altered the team's origin compared to Baron Zemo's original comic creation, that core ideology, it's still perfectly relevant. They are absolutely a team destined to create a sudden, massive impact. So to map out where they're heading, we're going to look at the new identity debate, followed by three main theories for their future: the Cabal, Multiversal Avengers, and Secret Avengers. And finally, we'll see how it all plays into Dr. Doom's game.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the new identity debate and the philosophical conflict behind it. This perfectly illustrates the massive clash of ideologies happening in the MCU right now. We basically have two very different contenders for the Avengers title. On one side, you've got Sam Wilson. He's successfully separated himself from the government, and he's handling global conflicts and diplomacy cleanly and publicly. But on the other side, we have the Thunderbolts. Sure, they're trying to step out of their dark pasts, but their day-to-day reality is incredibly messy shadow ops. Think about it for a second. They literally just saved New York from the void, but Val almost certainly kept the whole thing a secret. Why? Because if the public found out this team created the giant mess they just cleaned up, there's no way they'd be hailed as heroes. People would be demanding that Baba Gord get locked up immediately.
Moving on to Section 2. Theory 1, the Cabal, a much darker alternative.
To really grasp this one, we have to look back at the Time Runs Out comic storyline that led up to Secret Wars. During the incursions, where alternate Earths were physically colliding into each other, the Illuminati initially favored destroying other Earths to save their own. But eventually, they backed out. They just couldn't stomach the moral cost of mass murder. And that is exactly when Namor stepped in. He formed the Cabal, a totally ruthless squad featuring villains like Thanos and Terrax, who were more than happy to do the dirty work the Illuminati wouldn't touch.
So the really crucial point here is how this translates to the MCU. Val could totally assemble her own heavy-hitting cabal using morally gray characters, people who won't hesitate to do terrible things for a quote-unquote good cause, like saving our Earth. We're talking about the leader, who could whip up antimatter injection tech just like the comic character Black Swan. Then you throw in Abomination and Red Hulk. And their ultimate weapon? Bob, the Sentry. Remember, it's been 14 months, and the guy still hasn't learned to control his powers. Val could use this specific team to destroy alternate Earths while completely spinning the narrative so the public views them as necessary saviors instead of straight-up villains.
Now, in the comics, the Cabal's actions were actually broadcast to the UN and the world by Terrax. And get this, people actually supported them. But eventually, they got betrayed and were left behind on a planet experiencing a double incursion. They only survived by escaping to the Maker's universe and using his life raft to ride out the multiversal collapse, finally arriving in Secret Wars. Imagine the MCU Thunderbolts doing something just like that, seemingly dying while saving our Earth, only to secretly survive the multiversal collapse and pop up in Battleworld.
Which brings us to Section 3. Theory 2. The Multiversal Avengers, dealing with cosmic-scale threats.
Okay, this right here, this is a comic book reader's absolute dream scenario. As Multiversal Avengers, they wouldn't be fighting street-level thugs anymore, they'd be dealing directly with incursions. That means Bob would have to fully unleash the Sentry. Picture this playing out on screen. The team has to go destroy an alternate Earth, but it turns out to be a gamma world where literally everyone is a Hulk. We could see the Sentry go toe-to-toe, not just with any Hulk, but a World War Hulk variant. The visual potential for a fight like that is just absolutely staggering.
And we absolutely can't ignore the Thor connection here. In the comics, Thor teamed up with Hyperion for this epic last stand against the Beyonders.
Well, the source analysis points out that Doomsday gives the MCU the perfect excuse to swap Hyperion for Sentry. We could totally see Thor building a multiversal defense team and bringing Sentry and the rest of the Thunderbolts along for the ride. But, quick reality check, Doomsday is a massive, universal-altering event, and characters are for sure going to die just to establish how incredibly high these multiversal stakes really are.
Next up is Section 4, Theory 3, Secret Avengers and the Harsh Political Reality.
Here's the harsh truth of the matter, at least according to our sources. These characters were never, ever meant to be public-facing heroes. Aside from Bucky, every single person on this roster is essentially a secret weapon. They've been operating in the shadows, on highly covert missions for Val. And now that the government has officially adopted them, they aren't autonomous protectors of Earth anymore. They are political tools, period. Whether a war starts or stops is no longer up to them. It's entirely dictated by government interests.
So think about it. What happens when a government-controlled covert ops team runs right into Sam Wilson's independent diplomatic new Avengers? A massive clash. And this brilliantly illustrates the real danger here. While Earth's heroes are busy fighting amongst themselves over jurisdiction and morality, they are leaving the back door wide open. This internal, messy conflict is exactly the blind spot Dr. Doom needs to trigger or manipulate an incursion without anyone even noticing until it's too late.
And that leads us perfectly into Section 5, Dr. Doom's Game, where all paths eventually lead to Doom.
You might be wondering, why would a godlike being like Dr. Doom even care about a team of street-level misfits? Well, if Doom is constructing Battleworld, he's going to want people just like himself. Individuals rejected by society who are desperately seeking some kind of redemption. The Thunderbolts fit that psychological profile to a T. Plus, Doom is a master strategist, right? He knows full well that if Bob dies, it could release the Void. Doom would much rather keep these broken characters alive and strictly under his thumb in Battleworld than risk unleashing a totally chaotic, uncontrollable entity. So, let's break down how these individual team members would actually react to living under Dr. Doom's rule. They're going to do what they think is right, which inevitably means betraying him. Sentry, he has the raw, terrifying power to genuinely challenge Doom. Yelena is perfectly positioned to play the double agent, staying close just to discover his weak points. Ghost's phasing abilities make her a massive tactical wildcard in any kind of rebellion. But get this, John Walker, the US agent, might actually stay loyal to Doom. Why? Because he has this deep-seated psychological need to respect and follow authority, whoever is in charge. So, bringing it all together, what you should really take away from this explainer today is this. Regardless of whether they end up being called the Cabal, the Multiversal Avengers, or the Secret Avengers, the Thunderbolts are our crucial first line of defense. They hold an unbelievable amount of potential when it comes to shaping the upcoming multiversal war in Avengers Doomsday. Which leaves us with one final, massive question to chew on as we wrap up. When the dust finally settles on Avengers Doomsday and the final history of the multiverse is written, will the Thunderbolts be remembered for doing good, or will they succumb to their dark pasts and become the villains? Are they going to stand by Dr. Doom, or be the ones to bring him down? Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will catch you on the next one.